People love gold, the hidden economics behind Vietnam's obsession with gold. The story that explains everything. Let's start with a real example. In 2023, a woman in southern Vietnam made the news because she had saved over 100 taels of gold, nearly 4 kilograms, hidden in clay jars under her bed. She wasn't rich, she ran a small doodle shop. When asked why she didn't put the money in the bank, she simply had, "Banks can fail. Gold never does." This mentality explains so much about Vietnam. Gold is survival, history written in metal. To understand the psychology, foreigners need to understand Vietnam's past. Between 1945 and 1990, Vietnam experienced multiple wars, 3 different currencies, hyperinflation, state rationing, and economic collapse and recovery. In the late 1980s, inflation reached 774%. Yes, 700%. Savings evaporated, salaries became worthless overnight. During that time, a single tael of gold could buy a month's worth of food or keep a family secure during chaos. That memory never left. Even young Vietnamese today hear stories like, "Your grandfather hid gold in bamboo," or "Your aunt escaped war with only a few taels of gold." Gold equals survival. The data: Vietnam buys a lot of gold. According to the World Gold Council, Vietnam consistently ranks among the top 10 gold-consuming countries in the world. In 2022, Vietnamese households bought 59 tons of gold, more than many far richer economies. Vietnamese consumers allocate 20 to 30% of their savings into gold, an extremely high ratio globally. In the survey by the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce, 48% of Vietnamese people believe gold is the safest long-term asset, ahead of real estate, the stock market, and even cash. This is not just cultural habit, it's data-backed behavior. This strange reality: Vietnam's gold price is among the world's highest. Here's a data point foreigners find shocking. In April 2024, the gap between Vietnam's domestic gold price and the global price hit USD $1,000 per ounce, one of the largest in the world. Why? Only one brand, SJC, is allowed to mint national standard gold bars. It creates a monopoly-like situation. Supply is limited, demand is huge, and the price spikes. This means millions of Vietnamese willingly buy gold at a premium because for them, the psychological security is worth paying for. Story from a Vietnamese family: how gold built a life. Here's a common story in Vietnam. A couple gets married, their parents give them 5 taels of gold, 3 gold bracelets, and a gold pendant. They sell the gold and use the money to make a down payment for a house, start a business, or fund their child's education. Many small businesses in Vietnam, cafes, clothing shops, small factories, were started with wedding gold. Gold is not just an asset, it's a starting point in life. Why Vietnamese don't fully trust the financial system. Compared to the US, Japan, or Europe, Vietnam's financial markets are still young. The stock market was established only in 2000. Corporate bond scandals in 2022 shook public confidence. A real estate bubble made people cautious. Meanwhile, 50% of Vietnamese adults do not have a formal retirement plan. So they create their own version. Gold is a retirement fund. Gold is a medical emergency fund. Gold is a break glass in case of crisis asset. Gold hoarding affects the entire economy. According to the Vietnamese Ministry of Finance, Vietnamese households are estimated to be holding 300 to 500 tons of gold privately. That's worth $20 to $30 million sitting in drawers and safes, equivalent to 10% of Vietnam's GDP. This creates 2 problems. Money doesn't circulate, which means less capital for banks and businesses, and the domestic gold price becomes unstable, distorting markets. That's why the government constantly tries to de-gold the economy, but it's a cultural challenge, not just an economic one. What this reveals about Vietnam to foreigners: gold tells you everything about Vietnam's soul. Vietnamese people are cautious but resilient, saving-oriented, deeply shaped by history, family-focused, practical in their financial choices, and always preparing for uncertainty. A young Vietnamese might use TikTok, shop on Shopee, invest in crypto, but in a crisis, they will still trust gold. Vietnam is growing fast, but some habits are built not in decades, but in centuries. Vietnam's love for gold is not superstition or obsession. It is a rational response formed by history, culture, and lived experience. To understand Vietnam's gold phenomenon is to understand the Vietnamese people themselves. Cautious yet determined, shaped by hardship yet full of hope for the future. There you have it.